We are joined today by the former Strikeforce champion and current UFC top 10 welterweight, Belgium's own Tarec Saffiedine. Tarec, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, Ben. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking. Last time we spoke, you were about to fight the juggernaut, Jake Ellenberger. You guys fought in January and you won that fight. How did you feel stepping into the Octagon after almost 15 months?
Well, I feel really good. Going into the cage after a long time off like that, I feel really good. I did okay in my performance. Looking back at it, I didn't do everything that I wanted to do, but I got the W. And after the fight, I went back to my coach and we worked on a lot of things that needed to work on. But I'm glad that I got the W. That's all that matters.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, of course. What surprised you the most, or did the fight exactly go how you thought it would?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I think I won, but not. It wasn't my best performance. I would say it wasn't definitely not my best performance. But thing that surprised me, not really. I was, what Jake, the way he fought was the way we expected it. So nothing surprising on that side. Uh, we stick to the game plan, and it worked out pretty well.
It did. About 10 weeks ago, they announced your next fight. Sunday, you will be fighting Rick Story in Las Vegas. Last week, we heard a lot of rumblings about a potential injury and even reports that the fight might be cancelled last minute. Could you clear up for us where these reports came from and what exactly happened?
So here's what happened. So basically, everything went really smooth during training camp. I had no injury. Everything was going really, really well. But then the last Friday, last sparring session, last round, the last second of the last round, unfortunately, one of my training partner tried to take me down, and I defended takedown, and I fell against the cage. And the cage where we trained is a little curve on the bottom, so I hit my knee with my partner on my back, and so it got cut pretty badly, and it swelled up a little bit, and so after 24 hours, I couldn't really move my knee as much as I wanted to. Mm-hmm. So as soon as the injury happened, I warned the UFC about what happened. I told them, listen, I still want to fight. I want to, I don't want you guys to cancel the fight or whatever. I'm still in the fight, but this is what happened. So I told the manager to tell the UFC about it. And so they say, okay, just still come to, we're not going to cancel. We just want you to get clear by the doctor that you can see them on Monday here in Vegas. Mm-hmm. So I flew out to Vegas, see the doctor, and they clear me. So I'm fighting Sunday still. So I was nervous because I didn't know if I could, if they would gonna clear me or not. Yeah. So it was, so last second of the last round of the last sparring. So it was really frustrating, but fortunately everything went okay.
Yeah, we're glad the doctors cleared you and we can see you fight on the main card this Sunday. Yeah. Did the injury mess with the weight cut at all? Because you have to weigh in on Saturday. Are you on point, or do you need to cut a lot more weight?
No, I'm on point. I'm actually even a little lighter than usual, so
okay.
I'm perfect. I never had too much trouble making weight, and the injury is not gonna affect it at all. No.
Okay, great. What is your opinion about your opponent Rick Story? How would you describe him as a fighter, and what do you think his strengths and weaknesses are?
Well, he's a veteran. He's been fighting for a while in the UFC. He has a lot of fights. There's nothing that I see in his game that I cannot handle. Mm-hmm. He's a brawler. He does pretty much the same thing every fight he comes to swing for the fences. His wrestling is decent. He has good double leg. He knows what he does on the ground. Scrambles a lot, and on top he's not bad. On the stand-up, he just comes and swing. He wants to get into wars, and I think that's a great matchup for me. I like that matchup a lot. So it's gonna be an exciting fight, and at the same time, we put a really, really good game plan with my coaches, and as long as I stick to it, I won't have any issue. I train really, really hard for this fight, and I'm excited to showcase everything that I've done since the past almost 15 weeks now on Sunday.
Did you change up a lot of the training routine after hearing Rick Story would be your opponent, or is it for you always the same thing in training camp?
No, I changed a lot of things, but not because of Rick Story, but because of the way I wanted to change things up in my training. It's a lot of things that I changed, a lot of things. If I go into details, it's going to be a long conversation, but I changed a lot of things, the way I train, the way I recover, the way I surround myself with, my training partners, my coaches, my approach of my preparation. And then, especially on the strength and conditioning side, something that I've never done before, that I've changed a lot of things on that side. I think it will pay off, man. It pay off. I train really, really hard. Like I said, I train almost for 15 weeks for this camp. I've never done so long for a camp. I'm well prepared and I'm ready to go.
Okay, so it's safe to say we will see a whole new Tarec Saffiedine in the cage.
Well, it's definitely a different one. Definitely, yeah.
All right. And how do you think the fight will end on Sunday?
My hand raised. That's all it matter, man. That's what matter. I want to win. That's it.
Mm-hmm. And if you get the win and you don't have any injuries after the fight, would you like to fight as soon as possible, or will you be taking some time off after this fight?
That's a good question. I didn't think about it after the fight. Before this fight, I never project myself too much after the fight. I take one fight at a time. I think that's something we can talk after the fight. But definitely, I'm going to take a little bit of time off. I always take a little bit of time off after fights, not only because of the fight, but because of all the training camp, all the weeks that are leading up to the fight. I have to take some time off always, and then we'll see. We'll see.
Right. I know UFC Rotterdam did not work out time-wise, but there is another European UFC event coming up. Tickets went on sale today for UFC Hamburg in September. Is that something you want to pursue, or are you content fighting in the States for the next fight?
Well, I'm content to fight wherever, but I would definitely love to fight in Europe. And that's actually after my last fight, I asked to fight on the Rotterdam card.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Man, that would have been, freaking huge to fight close to home. It's definitely something that I want to do, man. Fight in Europe. I think I have a lot of people that, support me in Europe. And yeah, the fight in Germany on September 3rd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great to fight on that card too. I would be pumped to go back to Europe and fight. That would be definitely something that I would love to do.
I think September would be great if there are not any big injuries. So who knows? We will see you fight in Europe again. But yeah. that is something for later. But since we are on the topic of UFC Hamburg, do you see any other Belgian MMA fighters make their UFC debut? Are there any Belgian fighters you see fighting in the future for UFC?
That's a good question. I don't know. There are a lot of talents in Belgium. One thing that I realized when I was training in Belgium is when for MMA, you need to train in, obviously jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, boxing, everything. And in all those departments, we have some amazing athletes. We have some of the best, European-wise, even worldwide. We have some really great boxer, great jiu-jitsu, great wrestlers, and great Muay Thai is one of the mecca in Belgium,
Yeah.
highest level. But when the problem is when the MMA structure is not quite there yet. And to be honest with you, I didn't go to a lot of gyms, a lot of MMA gyms, especially in the Netherlands, on the Netherlands side. But so I cannot tell you exactly if there are a lot of potential, UFC fighter from Belgium. I truly do hope there is in the coming future. I don't want to be the only one. I would love to see other fighter coming up. I train with a fighter. His name is Chris Van Dijk. He's really good. He's training in Thailand right now. He's a former judo, and his MMA is pretty good. So there are a lot of good guys, that have a strong base, either in judo or Muay Thai or jiu-jitsu, and they just need to, I don't know, to have that strong structure behind them, good coaching, and I think everybody can go far.
All right. Last year, Fox started broadcasting the UFC in the Netherlands, and a couple of weeks ago, we had our first event in Rotterdam. Fox has also started broadcasting the UFC in Belgium. Do you think we can expect a UFC event in Belgium within, for example, next year?
I didn't know they had the Fox in Belgium. That's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they started, I believe, a couple of months ago. So hopefully they will have a UFC event in Belgium soon.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, man! I always said it. How we don't have we have a UFC event all over Europe, but not in the European capital city. In Brussels. So yeah, it would be great. It would be great to have an event in Belgium, definitely.
I know you're not keen on making prediction, but since there are two big welterweight fights coming up, I have to ask. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is fighting Rory MacDonald. Who will win that fight, do you think?
Well, I think I trained with Rory for this fight. I think Rory is going to be well prepared. He brought some really good training partners. And I believe they put a really good game plan, and Firas is really good at game plan. So I think Rory is going to get W.
All right, and of course the welterweight champion is back in action. Robbie Lawler is fighting Tyron Woodley. Who do you got in that fight?
I think Robbie. I think Robbie is going to win that fight. Yeah, I think he's going to win the fight. He's going to keep the title. Yeah, I believe so.
All right. And to wrap the interview up, where can the fans follow you on social media?
They can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the hashtag. Not the hashtag. Sorry. My name is Tarec Fighter. So everybody can follow me on those links.
Okay, and I'm sure they will. Tarec, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I know you have a very hectic schedule. You are only a couple of days away from fighting against Rick Story. Best of luck, and I'm sure we will talk soon.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Merci, au revoir.
Merci, au revoir.